is it in women that attract men like that?
Ooh.
Not your mother. We're not talking about your mother now. Your mother off the table, your stuff off the table. Cause what we want to break that down. Let's me and you break that down as a.
All right. So I think with certain men. All right. So in terms of how relationships go, in terms of the beginning, the middle, and the end, theory of mine is you have those who are really good at getting the women.
Mm-hmm.
Those who are really good at maintaining the relationship, maintaining that woman, and those who are good at terminating the relationship. So with a lot of toxic men,
I like that. I like that breakdown.
Right?
That's a good breakdown. That's a good breakdown.
And you can be, strong in one and weak in the other two, or strong in all three, right? Some men, especially toxic men, are good at getting the woman.
Mm-hmm.
They have a certain level of charm, a certain level of flair. So they know how to get her in the beginning, but the maintenance part, they're weak in. And then they may not know how to let go. So you ain't going nowhere. Possessive, right? Women fall for the charm because conditioning, right? And then you have to also consider the woman's experiences and her values, what's available in terms of proximity. Hey, are there a lot of men shooting their shot? Nah, okay, I'll probably take the next best thing shooting. So friendships, right? You might just start off with a friendship. Hey, let's just see where this goes. And women tend to go along with that because, it's clever. All right, I'll see what you got to offer. And then he's placing his best foot forward, but he's not showing you who he truly is. And then even if he is, a lot of women turn those toxic men into projects. So I have to fix him. I have to heal him. I have to restore him. He has this potential. I just seen all this good in him. Let me keep that going, or I could take him to the next level with that. If I invest in him, he's gonna invest back. So that's John's theory of that. Why be attracted? It's the charm.
All right, let me ask you this, because men do it this also on the flip end. Break down a man version of that.
The man, in terms of choosing the toxic women.
Gosh, let's do that,
man.
baby. Let's do that. Let's go all the way in.
Oh man. Okay, so essentially you don't genderize it. You don't place a gender on it. Because I've kind of come across that. I've come across like slithers of that.
Me too. Unknowingly.
Yeah.
Unknowingly.
It depends on. Okay, so again, women can be very seductive, right? Charm and seduction are the same thing.
They the most powerful motherfuckers in this world, bro.
Yeah.
If they only really knew how powerful they were, they would run this world. Well, they will run this world. If you pay attention to the way shit moving, they might be running this world soon, bro.
I believe. Hey, I'm all for it. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. But I still want. They still need to be checked. But I'm here for it. Hey,
smack a hoe.
Hey, you got this, but hey, come on now. Come on. Don't forget these values. We all going by the same values. But
remember, milk definition of hoe is a promiscuous woman. But
yeah, we should
had to remind them, bro.
Yeah. Got to cover the bases.
Well, you know what? Let me say something before we go further. My definition of a hoe is not a promiscuous woman. My definition of a hoe, because to me, a hoe is a woman who's just damaged unknowingly.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, that's what a hoe is.
That's fair. So
that's a hoe. That's what a fuckboy is to me.
Yeah, there's an unhealthy trait there.
Yes. Yeah. And until you master who you are, that's when you not a hoe no more. Well, that's when you not, whatever it is.
So, okay, mastery. So there's a distinction. They're a slave to their lust and what their conditions. They've overcome their condition.
Right.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Right. But let's go back to what we was talking about initially.
Yeah, genderizing. All right, so we were talking about men from that perspective of being seduced by a woman and she's toxic.
Yeah, let's break that down.
It's a smoke screen, right? Your charm, and there's so many different variables, so many different conditions.
They got that big ass butt, big titties, pretty face, nice
Just the mere fact of her talking to you.
Nice tone.
Just smelling good.
Smell good. Saying all the right things.
Yeah.
And this before you even sleep with her. You ain't even sleep with her yet.
Yeah. Oh boy, what? And then she just does little things for you. Knows how to listen. How was your day? Sending you those text messages but just overall giving you the attention, the affection, giving you the time, and even kind of reinforcing your self-worth. Reinforcing your self-worth. Making you believe that you're powerful, even if you don't believe it yourself. Right.
Making you feel strong even though you're weak.
Yeah.
They have the power to do that.
Right?
Yeah.
So, best foot forward. I don't want to show you my darkness. Let me show you my light. And most of us, whether it be man or woman,
that's
we
a
don't
line.
think.
I'm on part. That's a bar right there. I don't want to show you my darkness. I want to show you my light. That's the beginning of a poem or rap. Finish.
Yeah. Morning star, light. Anyways, show you my light. You'll be attracted to my light. And eventually, after we have this emotional connection, this psychic connection, then I'll feel comfortable to start releasing this other aspect out. But I'm going to give you hints that it's been there the whole time. Right? So the idea is, what's your motivation, right? In mating, in dating, in monogamy, in relating. What is your motivation? We don't tend to ask that question much before we even start. So from the male perspective, we might be thinking with big head down here.
Right.
And
9 times out of 10. Right.
And that becomes the motivating force to even be with her. It's primarily lust, but then it develops. Even like you said, before you even sleep with her, it starts to develop, and you're like, oh, you know what? I'm feeling you. I'm feeling all of your vibes, top to bottom. Look good, smell good, you think good, you work good, and you provide for me. You protect me in certain ways. So you become allured by that, and then those certain toxic traits come out. Or it could be even...
Give me some of the toxic traits. Go in.
Gaslighting, for example. Or...
Gaslighting.
Gaslighting is like... where you make it seem like the person doesn't know what they're talking about. So they're calling you out on something. White supremacy.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah. Women do that good. They masters of that.
I don't know if they're masters. Well, I don't know if they're masters.
I'm going to tell you why they masters at it. Because you'll have a conversation with a woman. You can speak for 5 minutes, right? You might say one line wrong, right? And what they game is this. I'm going to use that one line. Like, fuck everything else you said right. I'm going to use that one line you said wrong. And I'm going to hang on that.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to hang on it to the point where I'm going to make you feel bad about you even coming to me about this shit in the first place. That's one of the traits they have that's very manipulative.
The emotional part, though, it's psychological, but it's emotional, too. Right. And, of course, if you're a guy that's... Most guys are kind of passive, right? We're just like, yo, I just want to chill, man. I just want some peace. I don't want to argue.
If they love you.
Right.
If they love you. If a man love you.
That's a good assumption.
If a man don't love you, he like, man, fuck off my phone with that bullshit you talking about.
So gaslighting is one. Hypocrisy, but that kind of, and these kind of go hand in hand. Hypocrisy, double standards, the selfishness.
Hold on, you saying things, but I know what you mean, but I'm not sure if some people even. I'm not sure. So let's go step by step. Hypocrisy.
Yeah. So
I can't even see the word.
So,
but break that down. Give me a scenario behind each thing you break it down.
All right. Let's say,
if you mind.
Let's say, for example, John, I want you to open up to me. I want you to be vulnerable with me. Share your deepest secrets. Tell me how you feel at all times. Be honest with me. Open yourself up to me. John pours out. Okay, got it. I say, hey, how do you feel about me? How do you feel about us? Why are you asking that question for? What you mean by that? You should already know if you're going to ask that question.
Right.
So the hypocrisy is you're asking something of me. Right?
At the same time, when she asks, she's manipulative.
Open up, but let me close off to you.
Right.
And guys do the same thing. Guys do it. So I want you to open up, and I'll shut down. And double standards, hypocrisy and double standards to me are essentially the same thing. But the distinction for double standards is you two agree on a rule, it could be something like you're in the talking phase, right? That's a thing now in this age. You're in the talking phase, and you both agree that you two are semi-monogamous, as in you're pursuing each other as prospects. You're going to be exclusive. You're just still figuring each other out, but you're not going to talk to any other prospects. It's just you and her. You agree to that rule. You agree to that standard, but then she has these friends that are still potential prospects, but you both agree to. Right. So double standards in that regard. Toxicity, deceit, lying. Everyone lies for a reason. Let me make that clear. Everyone lies for a reason. You may not agree with the reason, but there's a reason. There's always a motivation to lie. Even if it's habitual, you may not be conscious of it. The person on the outside will say, oh, you just lying for no reason. You don't even know why you lying. So you just lying for no reason. No, they're just not aware of why they're lying. They're not aware of their motivation for doing it because they've been doing it for so long. So the deception, that's toxic. Abusive, psychological abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse. Infidelity, that's toxic. Not honoring your commitments, being disrespectful in all facets, talking down on your spouse or on your partner, belittling them, killing their self-esteem, not speaking life into them, doubting them, extreme skepticism. Not just skepticism, extreme skepticism.
Men, at this point right here, if he's telling the truth, I want you to say, give a thumbs up on the like button. I also want you to say, you got it, John. I want you to say, you got it, Skywalker. Don't say you got it, John. Say, you got it, Skywalker. Go ahead, kill it. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. And wait a minute. If you disagree, I want you to say you disagree and give a thesis on why you disagree in the comments, and John Walker will reply. Right, Skywalker?
Inconsistency. Oh my gosh, that's a big one. That's not to be confused with spontaneity, because they're kind of the same, right? Like you're a Sag, right? Your wife is a Gemini. Y'all are spontaneous by nature, by that nature. So spontaneous, as in there's an intent. Inconsistency is more unconscious. You're making promises or vows, or you have this wishful thinking, but you have no true intention of following through. Yeah, I'm a pinch that right there. Yeah. Toxicity in that regard. But that physical and psychological abuse, man, that's a problem. That's a huge problem. You got men out there that are subject to a lot of psychological abuse and physical abuse that ain't spoken on. You know, that whole idea of, okay, well, you're a man and, you know, you're a woman, you slapping him upside the head, or just how you speak to him. You're yelling at him, and he really didn't do anything wrong. You're just emotionally volatile, or you're not listening. You're not actively listening. You're not eliciting a certain level of understanding. You're not being patient, right? Yeah, just raging on your man, and you're in competition with him. Jealousy, that's another toxic trait.
That right there, the in competition, I don't think a lot of people understand that part. Like a lot of people, I've seen women mother be in competition with them. I've seen women father be in competition with them. I've seen women sisters be in competition with them. I've seen women brothers be in competition. I've seen so many different layers of it. But a lot of times people don't speak to the part of your girlfriend or husband or your fiance or wife or husband being in competition with you. Break that down, how that look, and break down why would somebody else be in competition with the person that they should be on the same side with, because the win is ultimately come back to the team. And the team is us.
Why be in competition? Insecurity. The root of it is insecurity.
The lead of a lot of shit is insecurity,
a lot of it, but
fear.
Yeah, but even that, with insecurity, what are we saying, right? I'm insecure. Right? You hear the word and you know the definition, but as far as the experience, right? You said fear. That could be one of the emotions, right? But what is the fear? What does the fear relate to? Death. In my opinion, it's death. if I feel insecure about something, I could be fearing for my death, because we're trying to strive, right? We're trying to. The ultimate goal is thriving, but for some of us, we're just surviving. We're just getting by, right? So you're below this threshold, and you're in competition with this person simply because they have resources that you need. Or even just on the social spectrum, for example, babe, I got a new job. She ain't working. So what is that? What is that? How does she interpret that? Right? How does he interpret that? Babe, I got a new job. She should be happy for me because she's my partner. Woman on the other side is like, oh, for real? But there could be a value conflict because she wants him to work to provide for her lifestyle. She doesn't want him to work or to ascend up the ladders because he has leverage to say, I'm better than you, even if he would never admit that.
Right.
I've elevated and you haven't. I've acquired something that you haven't, that you want, that you need.
But why not we elevate it?
Individualism, huh?
Yeah. Why not we elevate it?
Because you don't really perceive yourself as being in a unit.
Well, that's not going to work.
Right. You came into that thinking, you had to have come into that relationship with the idea or the perception that you're in it to gain something. Perhaps give as little as possible and to gain the most. Or it could be this mentality where you're a narcissist. You have some that are like that they have that tendency towards narcissism. So it's all about me, and they're conditioned that way because, again, it could be rooted in childhood experiences. If you experience poverty for so long, what does that do to your perception of life? It narrows it down. When you have a sense of worth, a strong sense of personal wealth or worth and personal power, you don't feel the need to take from someone else because you have everything that you need.
White people. I'm sorry. I apologize.
To pillage, to take. You have the resources already within yourself. So what, if anything, you're really trying to share and give, because you start to realize when you give, you receive more. But even if you don't get it back the same way you got it, it may translate to something psychologically. I was a part of that experience or that experiment. I helped you get to here. I was a part of that. And so I bask in the glory of you being elevated. I bask in that. I was a part of that creation. And I'm proud of that. And I have no regrets. I didn't lose anything. I didn't lose anything because, in a sense, none of it is something, like, you don't possess it. It was bestowed upon you, and you do what you will with it, but you're not attached to it. I gave this to you, I put you in this position, but I'm not attached to you being here or you getting to this point, or you acquiring something. I'm not attached to that. I let it go and I let it be. So when you're insecure, you have these toxic attachments to things that you feel need to sort of restore or heal or repair that void you have within yourself, and it's insatiable. So you're entering your relationships with this very distorted view of how relationships work. You say out loud that it's about us, but your intent is it's about me because that's all you know. Again, you can be in that relationship and you're giving just enough to get by, just to maintain it. Right? It's like a parasite to a host. So you sort of realize that you're dependent on this person, but at the same time, you don't want to be. And you're suffering at a very subconscious level. You won't share that suffering, you won't acknowledge it. So don't question my motives. Don't question my ideas or how I see you. Don't question anything. Just let it be like this, because if you see me for who I am, I may lose what I've acquired with you.
Well, if what you acquire, if it was not real, is that even worth keeping?
Well, to them, it is because they don't know.
Because they functional in the dysfunction.
Yeah, they don't know anything else.
Right,
and even if I could probably try to persuade them or give them another idea, but they may not accept it simply because it's too foreign, or perhaps it's more work, it's more effort. So I can say, hey, you could take this path right here, but is the intention pure? It has to come from within. The motivation has to come within. I could show you that there's another way to go about acquiring these resources so that you don't have to feel this way. You don't have to feel jealousy. And jealousy, to be clear, is not, it can be good or it can be healthy in the proper context. So if you're jealous of another man talking to your woman, and you convey that to your partner, some people say, oh, that was weak that you even had that emotion. But in the context of a relationship, all you're saying is, I feel threatened by this person because that person may take resources away from me. And so it's just a call to, hey, secure the relationship. If you care, you're not going to belittle someone for having jealousy or jealous tendencies. You just need to make sure that they're secure within themselves. So pointing out that they're insecure doesn't get rid of insecurity.
Most definitely.
But if you're helping them in the sense of, all right, let's talk about this, let's kind of elevate or vibrate that insecurity, let's get to the root of that. All right, now you understand why you feel this way. All right, now I've given you what you need. Are you good? Okay, I need you to understand this relationship will not replace or take anything from this. Get to a firm understanding.
Most definitely. I agree. So you basically saying women need to know all that information. I'm just playing.
They might know all the information except how he feels.
Say it again?
They might know all the information except how he feels.
When you say all the information besides how he feels, I know what I think you mean, but what do you mean?
You might know his favorite color, what he likes to drink, what he likes to eat, what sexual positions he's into, favorite colors, his experiences, where he's trying to go in life, his fears, and plural. He's afraid of spiders. He's afraid of getting on the bus, whatever. But in your daily life, do you know how he actually feels? Does he verbalize his affection for you?
Right.
Do you know where you stand in that regard? Oh, well, my man, he's not really that emotional. He's just a man. So you're with someone, and you're a woman, you know how important emotions are and what they convey and how they influence behavior. But you don't know how he feels about you or how he feels about life. You don't know. You have all this other information. That's declarative knowledge, right? But you don't know, or that's autobiography, right? That's like autobiographical. But you don't know how he feels about you, because that emotion is the bond, right? You don't know if he's apathetic about you. You don't know if he's angry with you. Oh, I know when he's angry. Well, all right, explain when he's angry with you. All right, so how do you know that he's actually happy, but he's actually happy within, but his facial expression, because he could have a good poker face. A lot of men have a great poker face. I know I've had it. Well, not right now, I can't, but I've had it. So you may know all this information about your man, but knowing how he feels about you, that's important. That's his heart. What's his range, right? If he has limited range, that's kind of a problem, because he's not really free when he's around you. He doesn't express joy, elation. He doesn't express anger, discontent. He doesn't express, or maybe he does express just two modes. It's just happiness and, it might just be happiness and anger. But you don't know when he's depressed. You can't recognize his sadness when it's there. You don't really know a lot. You got all this information, but you really don't know the core. Like, right. You don't have his heart at interest.
Right. I believe men and women don't have some of that information because we give up before we get to the part where as though we get the real information. A lot of times in relationships, I believe that, like, I think you said it earlier, like, some people know how to get a relationship, they don't know how to keep it. And the stuff you talking about right now, that's the real shit. That's the core. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that. And, if you never seen it from your mother, and you never seen it from your father because they didn't stay together, how the fuck you gonna get it?
Books.
Yeah, but
but that's the first model, right?
Yeah.
That's the importance of the family.
No,
that they're the models of and they're gonna, so hopefully they're gonna pass that down. You know, something as simple
Some
as,
people don't know how to articulate that though.
yeah, but it ain't gotta be. It doesn't always have to be words.
It can be seen.
Yeah, like just you're a kid and you see. First off, a lot of people stay together just for the image of the family. But then it's, how do you maintain that, right? What does it look like? So, some children grow up in households that have both parents present, but they're not showing affection. So where do they learn affection when they become 19, 20, 25? So they just got to go out and find it elsewhere. Why didn't it come from the household that gave birth to them? Why didn't it come there? Or it can be, what do I get my boyfriend for Valentine's Day? How do I negotiate with my spouse? What do we do when we're in an argument? How is a man supposed to treat a woman? That's the first model. The first model should come from the household. The first people to have a say so should be your parents, right? And then society can say, "Oh, here's another idea." So you'll have something to compare and measure to. So when you're coming up, you say, "All right, first model, my mom and pop." Then you have all these other models, and so you can improve on the design from there. And then some of us, we never have the design. So it could be something that's, dad comes in, smacks mom on the butt, she laughs, chuckles, and then comes back, kisses her like, I love you, right? Playfulness, something as simple as that. And a child or a teenager sees that and says, I'm going to remember that. That looks good. I bet you it feels great.
Most definitely. I feel it 100%. If you feel that, make sure you say we feel you, Skywalker. And if you disagree, say, Skywalker, you ain't shit.
I'm ancient. I ain't shit.
Let me ask you something else. Who do you think you would be if you didn't go to Iraq them 2 times? Who would you be?
I'd be an artist.
Hypothetically.
I think I'd be a visual artist. Yeah. I'd either be creating video games, or I might even be a laborer of some sort of laborer. But then again, accounting is what I wanted to be when I was a child. And it's kind of flimsy. I mean, I did do it technically. I went the military route and I became an accountant, but it's more within the scope of logistics.
Okay.
Right. So I would have been the certified public accountant, perhaps. But visual art probably would have been my side hustle. And, it's interesting because that's what my son wants to be. He wants to make video games and he wants to be a multimedia artist. He's into claymation. So whatever my son is pursuing right now, that's what I would have been. He's pursuing multimedia artist. And yeah, it would have been that and perhaps accountant. I'm not sure if I would have married my wife, though. I don't think I would have married my wife. Or ex-wife.
Oh, if you didn't go?
Yeah, if I didn't go, I probably wouldn't have married her.
So what was your perspective on, like, let me marry her before I go? Give me the perspective.
Ooh, man, the way that came about, it was bad. So my son didn't come from my ex-wife. We weren't even together for a while. And so I meet my son's mother, and we got this thing going on. It's not really official, though. And she wanted a child. She was really feeling me. But I wasn't really feeling her like that. And we both come from impoverished backgrounds for the most part. So my idea was, you're not ready to be a mother yet. You can barely maintain this, and we're still young. And at the time, I didn't know, but in retrospect, I really hurt her feelings when I said no. She brought up the question because she was really feeling me. She hadn't met anyone like me before. So we have our thing going. She gets knocked up out of my negligence, and she decides to keep it. I did not want to keep my son. And when I confronted her about that, about getting the abortion, she said, no, I can't do that. I gotta keep it. I can't do it. It goes against my values. And then it was, so are we getting married? And I'm like, no. So it's gonna, yeah, I understand what's gonna happen. I know my son is going to be a bastard child. I was a bastard child, right? And so months go on.
I think a lot of us bastards, bro. Don't worry about that.
Was Jesus a bastard?
That's that conversation I love. I love shit like that.
But so months go on. I'm in a field training exercise, and I haven't told anybody that we're expecting. So I told my mom I'm in a field training exercise. I let my mom know, and then I called she was a girlfriend or ex-girlfriend at the time. She was ex-girlfriend in that moment. I called her and I let her know, hey, I just want you to know that I'm going to be a dad. And I called her because I wanted her to know that this is essentially it. I'm about to be a dad, and I just wanted you to know, just in case you had any hope of us getting back together. And we had a very strong connection here. It's uncanny. It was just uncanny. I remember in the phone, there was this silence. There was this pregnant pause, and it was so big, but I could feel her saying, so this is it? This is how it ends? And so I say to myself, she doesn't want this to end. I really don't either. You know, this is going to sound real crazy. Will you marry me? What? Yeah, will you marry me? I'm for real. I'm serious. You know me. I'll make it happen. How are we going to... Just, if you say yes, I will make it work. I can promise you that much. I'm going to make it work. And so, yeah, so... ended up moving her up.
How old were you at that time?
Oh, man, I was like 21. Like 21.
Yeah, okay. So you saying you end up moving her up?
Yeah, moving her up to Washington.
Where was she at?
So she was in Texas, but she just came from Louisiana. She was going to school in Louisiana. Hurricane Katrina had happened.
Oh, okay.
And so she went back to stay with her folks, her mom. And yeah, I called her. Yeah, from Washington. Made that proposal. You see how bad of a proposal that is. It's like, hey, will you marry me? Over the phone. You can't see the expression.
No ring, nothing. Right.
I'll make it up.
Though. You're young. You're young.
But it was a very humble beginning. I didn't know for sure how I was gonna make it happen. But when I want something, the gears start going, that's how it's always been between her and I. It was a long distance relationship. It started off that way when I was in high school, and I met her through high school. She was in Texas, I was here in Georgia. So this is when Yahoo Messenger came out. Right. Our relationship was long distance already. So I used to just take the bus just to go see her. Right, Greyhound. I was working at Hardee's. I'd save up my money and just go out there to visit her, and it might be once or twice a year. So we had a decent foundation, but for me to propose to her like that, just from long distance, yeah, that's uncanny. Moved her up. I had her in the barracks because I was a sergeant at the time. I had her in the barracks. You're not supposed to bring people in the barracks, and I did that illegally. But it was just enough time until we got our apartment. And then she stayed at home. She was like essentially like the homemaker. She would just wait for me. And then she wanted to work. And I would just remember, yo, I'm providing everything for you. You don't have to work. You don't have to work. Protector, provider. Like, you stay home. Don't work. You know, you're too precious to work.
Right.
She wanted to work. So, yeah, we evolved over time. You know, we got stronger, had more adventures. Bond got tighter. Yeah.
That's dope, bro. That's dope. I want to come back to something. I want to make sure I want to clear something up for you. When you were saying, like, I've seen you probably was the first man I've seen that have his son with him. You brought your son with you at your feature, had your son basically handle the camera work and all that different things like that. So tell me, because you said that you wanted her to have an abortion, right? Because you're young, you ain't figured it all out for yourself yet. You know what I mean? And and also for a fact, somewhere in your mind, like, I'm not gonna be with this woman long term. Mm-hmm. But I also know somebody listened to our conversation. Well, like, why he ain't using no condom then? Because that lust is so good, baby. That's why. Come on,
don't understand.
People don't get it. You know what I mean? That lust is so good. So, but my question to you is this: tell me the effect your son had on your life, because I see you with your son, and your bond is just so strong. Tell me the effect. Tell me what your life. Tell me the effect your son had on your life, and how he helped you. Because a lot of times when you have kids, they help you grow up faster. So explain that life with you and your son.
Like any relationship, it was a process of development. It started off as very cold because I was still dealing with some daddy issues. I didn't have a very strong relationship with my biological father. I only had him close for about maybe 3-4 years, and then abused my mom, and I held on to that for a long time. So I never resolved that, and so it spilled over into my relationship with him. First 3 years of his life, I probably only seen him twice. Nope, twice, about 3 or 4 times, right? But still, I didn't really want him. It wasn't until I had that awakening that I said, okay, I need to go back home, and I need to rekindle my relationship with my son. And so in my house, or my apartment at the time, I had this picture of him, and it was when he was 3. I had that in the corner. And of course I had we had my picture, or it was a picture of me and my ex-wife. And so he was in the corner. And I remember looking at that picture, and just the intuition said, go back for him. And I understood that I needed to reconcile that. If I wanted to move forward, if I wanted to end the suffering that I was experiencing, I needed to rekindle that relationship, make amends, apologize, and all that. I still ended up leaving, though. I was in this mindset of protector provider. So I would leave, go to Kuwait for 3 months, and while being over there, I'm still finding myself, I'm still prepping myself for fatherhood. And I just remember calling him a few times while I was over there and feeling like something was off. He's 5, and I just remember thinking all the time, why can't I have a good relationship with him? Why can't I talk to him? I want to understand him. I can't connect with him. I can't communicate with him. Something's not right. I'm going to give all this up, and I'm going to go back. I don't know what's going to happen, but I just remember praying, like, all right, my contract is up for renewal. I'm going back for my son. Started over, didn't have a job. And I was on child support this whole time. And then with me not working, she relied on my child support. So with me not working,
them ribs was going higher and higher, probably.
It just fell apart. The whole structure fell apart because I wasn't working. Right. So I ended up, I can't say beating CPS, but by virtue of me not working, I ended up getting temporary custody of my son because she didn't have the family support system that I had. So it was supposed to be temporary until she got herself back together.
How old was he at that time?
At that time, he was about 5 or 6.
Okay.
About 5 or 6. And then I'm staying with my mom. All of my siblings, we're all staying with our mom. And this was like another reset for us. And I get custody of my son, and from there, it wasn't until like maybe that year or later, the year afterwards, that I came to grips with my PTSD. And so I started my healing process through the VA. And in that process, I started connecting with him a little bit more. It was just a yearning to just correct those curses. I knew it was a curse. It didn't feel right. I should feel this way, not this way.
Right.
So the yearning was just knowing what I didn't have and wanting him to have it. It's like, you shouldn't have to go through what I went through, man.
Right.
I'm about to repeat his mistake, and then you're gonna do the same thing.
Right.
So it's got to stop here.
Breaking them generational curses.
Yeah. So
doing the hard work.
It's introspection.
Yeah,
it's just that awareness. I'm always asking the questions. What am I doing wrong? What could I improve on? What could I do better? How am I feeling? Why am I thinking this way? How do I feel about him, though, essentially? How do I feel about him? And I was apt to just reconcile that feeling with him. So over the years, it just developed. I didn't know where it was going to be exactly. And then, I think it also helped that I started dreaming again slightly.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one dream that I had, we were at this park, and I just remember it being just so serene. It was sunny outside. I don't know where we were, but we were at this park, and he was just running, and he was just so happy. And that dream really stuck with me. I said, that's the place I want to be at. And I don't think I've had a deja vu moment where that dream came to life. It was like perhaps my higher self was telling me, you want this, or perhaps I was programming myself. I'm not sure how to explain that, but just having that dream, it kind of was the seed to plant. That was a seed planted, and I just went off of that. Our relationship over time developed. I was a strict dad, very militant. My emotional affect was, I didn't know how to connect with him because I didn't have that model. So I go to school, college. I'm a trucker. I'm still chasing money.
Mm-hmm.
But over time, I got fired because I didn't know how to drive. And I just focused on being a student of psychology. And as I learned more in psychology, I applied what I learned to my relationships, all my relationships,
Mm-hmm.
and especially the one with him. Then going to therapy and really appreciating Black mental health, how necessary it is. Again, learning in school, oh wow, this is a huge problem. We're underrepresented, when it comes to Black mental health. We're not out there getting treatment, right?
Right. Move that down. No, that one.
This one.
Yeah. But let me ask you this: Have you forgiven yourself for the thoughts of you not wanting your son?
Yes.
That's a question I've never thought about. Like, you forgiving yourself?
Yes.
That's
And
good.
I forgave myself because I understood why I had those thoughts.
Right,
and I
right.
think if you're gonna truly forgive, you gotta have the understanding. You can't just verbalize it.
Right.
You can't. If you truly forgive yourself for whatever transgression against yourself or against anyone else, but really it's against yourself. Transgression against the other is really against yourself. So if you truly forgive, it has to come from a place of understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And I understood why I had that thought.
Let me ask you this: When you said a transgression against somebody else is a transgression against yourself, I understand what you mean. Go deeper with that. Explain that to people so people can get it.
You're doing to someone else